Hello, good morning. It is another morning of the vlog. I'm just doing and watching some Crystal. Sorry, Crystal, that I caught your face like that, but you're so gorgeous, it doesn't matter. I had a really good reading night last night. Lately, I've been getting a little distracted, like I haven't been reading as much during the weeks, which is good. Work, I'm really needing to focus in on it, and so I'm not even like listening as much because let's be honest, like nobody can completely multitask. This is proven. Some people can switch really quickly between two things, but when you multitask, you're not putting your full attention onto anything. So a lot of the times when I'm listening to an audiobook, I either like have it on and I like pause what I'm doing until I get to, you know, a part where I'm like, okay, I can turn back to what I'm doing, or I'm continually pausing the audiobook every like 2 minutes. So I'm just getting through like 2 minutes at a time, which is fine, but it means I never put like full attention into everything, and I'm needing to do that. So what happened last night? So I have it in another room, but I did end up reading 60 pages of To Sir Philip with Love, which isn't for the readathon, but that's okay. And then I actually ended up with my first like major deviation from my TBR, and I really shouldn't do this, but it's part of the reason why, like, it's the fun. Like, I can still make this work for a prompt, because honestly, so much of the things work for my prompt, but okay, so here's what I did. I put a picture of it on Insta last night, but I started Duke's I'd Like to Fuck. This was a gift from Crystal as like a gift wall present, because I wasn't gonna buy a hard copy for myself, and I'm so glad that she sent this to me, because I don't know when I would have picked it up. Like, when a book is in front of my face, you know, I just have more motivation to read it. And so I ended up reading 160 pages of this last night. I just dived into it, and it was fantastic. It was after I finished A Heart of Blood and Ash, and then I read those 50 pages of, To Sir Philip with Love, and I was going to dive into Restless Slumber, and I just wasn't feeling it. I was planning to just read one novella, and I ended up reading 1.5 of it. So I read The Chasing of Eleanor Vane, which is the Sierra Simone one. If you've never read one of Sierra Simone's like erotic historical romances, you really should. She has one that's like based on Jane Eyre. And then she also has one then that connects with that, and I'm pretty sure this one connects to the world as well. I can't like quite remember how. I think it has to do with the like sex parties that they would have, because in the other ones you get to see the sex parties that they have. But this one is an age gap. It's a 20-year age gap. It's between this girl who is 20 years old and she's supposed to marry this duke's nephew. And then he is going to abdicate his dukedom because he just hasn't been happy, and he wants to give it up and retire, but he wants his son married to a smart woman, and Eleanor is that. She has been taught by her father how to like run an estate, and she's a very like calm, smart woman. And then she comes to stay at the estate because, ooh, there's a squirrel, because they're gonna have, they're having like the betrothal ball, and then the wedding's gonna be in a couple weeks. And as soon as they both meet each other, they're like, oh shit, I really like this person. So that's enough to say about that one. It was wonderful. Then I couldn't stop myself, and I started the next one, by Nicola Davidson, which is Duke for Hire. And that's basically how it sounds. This 30-year-old woman who is the daughter of a vicar. So this one's actually an age gap too, because he's 40 and she's 30. It's a 10-year age gap. But to me, those kind of age gaps don't mean anything once the heroine is like past the age of 25. I don't care if the guy is 40 or over. It doesn't have the same like spice to it. The taboo of this one is that they make a sex contract, which isn't real, because they both are like, we can stop this at any time. It's kind of the fun of it being a contract for them. And she offers to kind of pay him a like shilling for each sexual act that they do, and he just laughs because he's like, woman, number one, you have no idea what I'm worth, but also I would do it for free. But it's still kind of a cute thing of like each time they do it, they somehow make it cute that she's like paying a shilling for it. But they put all these things in the contract, so they do test out a couple things, like there is toys in it, and there's like sensory play, and it's so cute, so cute. I love Nicola Davidson. I know that I've only read one of her other novellas before, but she's someone who keeps getting brought up that she has like some poly relationships, and that she also has other fun like historical sexy times. And in this she does list that she has a full-size historical that's sexy like this, and so I want to read that. I'm not quite done with hers. I still have 30 pages of it left. But she has a lot of books. So I definitely want to try some of them out, but I'm really liking it. Yeah, and so I deviated from my TBR, but I can read this I could mark this off for age gap and historical romance if I want to. It's more that I'm like trying to urge myself to read those books that are on my TBR. So it's not like the goal of this one isn't filling out the bingo board for me. The goal of this is to read all those books I need to read. But I'm glad I deviated. This gave me a lot of joy, and I mean, thanks, Crystal. This was such a good present. But what I'm planning to do today is Wednesday I listened to all my podcasts because all my favorite romance podcasts come out. So I'm listening to Fated Mates right now. I'm listening to Smart Women Read Romance. Shout out to Jenn. I love listening to your podcast every Wednesday. I listened to Learning the Tropes already. They had the podcast for It's in His Kiss up. And then I have a couple murder and crime ones that I listen to on Wednesdays. So I don't tend to listen to a lot of audiobook on Wednesdays. But it's also a no makeup day because Monday and Wednesdays I go to the gym, so I just don't bother with makeup. But I am getting kind of behind on recording some of my videos because I've been doing a lot of vlogs. And so those get pushed out a little bit. So sorry to my channel members that I haven't had more videos like pre-uploaded. But the vlogs, it's like hard to pre-upload them because I kind of get them done the night of, and so putting them for early release for only like 8 hours just doesn't really seem worth it for you guys, so I apologize for that. But yeah, I am gonna get back to work now, but I wanted to stop in and update you on where we are at with everything. I still have half of my fake rake left, which once I get all my podcasts listened to, I'll probably finish my fake rake tonight. I can't believe that like our live show is next week already. I mean, not that I'm not going to be done, but I had planned to read more Eva Leigh before then. Eva Leigh does have the next short story in this book too, which I think is called An Education in Pleasure. So I'm very interested to read her short story, like her novella in here, and see how sexy that is since it's in Dukes I'd Like to F. Because so far my like biggest complaint, which isn't a complaint, it's a preference. I was sharing this with Crystal this morning, is that I'm a bigger fan of like more steam spread throughout a book. I get really annoyed with slow burns, which isn't her fault. A lot of people love those, but that book is just like too cutesy. My Fake Rake is very adorable, and I definitely would consider Eva Leigh a good historical romance for beginners. Like, she is someone I would add on to that list because she has really great plots and like low amounts of steam. So there you go. I'll check. Hello. I actually have makeup on for this clip. Imagine that. So I'm getting my foods. I just made soba noodles, so not the healthiest thing, but in the wintertime, they're my favorite comfort food to have. So we won't look at the rest of my apartment because it is a hot freaking mess. But we gotta chat about a couple things. So the first being the absolute shitstorm that happened on Twitter yesterday, which would have been December 2nd. Now, I came into this a little bit late because I don't check Twitter constantly. I usually check it when I'm posting a video, or after I've checked my other social medias, I'll like, oh, let me check Twitter and see what's happening. And I noticed that an author made an oopsie, and now, you know, people are not infallible. And I understand that maybe sometimes when you we'll read what a reviewer says. You might be hurt a little bit. First off, you are completely in control of that. The comments that are said, unless a reviewer tags you in the comment and it's a mean one, which, number one, don't do that as a reviewer. The only time I personally like tag a author in a post is if I'm like posting just a picture, or I am saying something really, really nice and I want to compliment them. But don't personally like tag an author if you don't like their book, because we just don't need to spread the negativity of that. However, that's not what happened in this case. My friend Laura from Laura's Library Card, is it Library Card? But Laura's Library, been on my channel quite a few times, is a friend. I consider her a friend. She just did a Goodreads update, which they post to her Twitter, and she did a Goodreads update about like not caring about the characters at the point in the book that she was in. And we do that all the time. Like, I make a comment on mine, it just posted to Goodreads. It's not a fully thought out review, but she made a comment about the point that she was in the book. She just was like, man, I don't care about these characters anymore, which is definitely a comment. I've made a comment like that before. Because I'm just like, I'm getting bored. This is a thing. And the author made the choice would have been seeking out posts about this, because I feel like you don't get alerts when a Goodread thing happens. I'm going to set this down and move closer because I don't want to hold it. But you don't like get comments about that. Like this author, I think her name's Connie something. I'll call her out. I don't care. Like, she called out my friend, and Connie made a comment back saying very passive aggressively, well, Laura, I'm glad you stuck with us as long as you did. Which the author then, once she started getting called out, because a bunch of the author's followers then started shitting on Laura for no goddamn reason. So shame on you, fans of the author, who can't be cognizant to realize that the author you follow, like, that wasn't cool. And that Laura is allowed to have any opinion about a book that she wants to. I doubt Laura is the only person who has a non-flattering view of your book. But Laura wasn't attacking you. She didn't seek you out. She wasn't shoving it in your face. And it wasn't even a fully thought out review. She probably would have had some articulated thoughts about why this book wasn't for her. But instead, this author chose to, Laura has a small platform and this author has a very big platform. So she chose to drag Laura from her small platform into this big area and kind of abused her power over something that wasn't bad. Like, Laura was not saying this was a shitty book or what. She was like, I just don't care anymore. Which, that isn't even like a spicy thing to say, right? Not that it should matter. Laura can have any opinion she wants, and she didn't attack this person, And so this led to I didn't go read a lot of the stuff people said to Laura. I just saw a lot of my friends posting about it on Insta and my friends backing her up. The Smart Women Read Romance. I don't know if it was Juliet or Jesson who was commenting. I think it was Juliet who was. Crystal jumped on that. Jess was, like, everyone really just like jumped in to defend Laura, which they should have. I jumped in as well, but like I said, I came to this late because I'm not on Twitter all the time. Laura is one of the sweetest people I know on Booktube. Like, not even gonna joke. She is such a delight, so respectful, so kind, and the author doesn't know that about her. And so it was a really, really shitty thing to do. So this is just me, number one. I'm sticking up for Laura on my channel. And please, I will have her tag down below. Please go check her out. She is a wonderfully articulate and, like, kind woman. And I'm very disappointed in this author. I've never read anything by her. I will not read anything by her. Some people I do want to call out as being awesome, upstanding people. This is just who I saw. Megan Frampton straight up called her out on Twitter out loud, got in this back and forth with her where when the author tried to walk it back by saying, I was honestly just saying thanks for sticking in with us. And it's like, you knew what the fuck you were doing by making a disparaging comment against her that way. And I've seen authors do it before. Maybe this author was having a bad day, whatever. But, like, you are in a position of power when you have fans who you know are going to attack someone. Like, you know they will, because they'll use any excuse to do it. Just as me choosing to talk about someone that I care about on here will lead some of you to go check them out. And I have such a small audience. Compare that to an author who has people buying their book and following their Twitter and takes their words as like, oh, we need to go jump on this person because they must be a shitty person, which I hate cancel culture as it is. Like, I know there, even with situations where it may seem like a good reason to do it, to do that, like to attack a reviewer who you want reviewers on your side, like, just don't comment at all. If you are going to be that insecure person who has to pick at every negative comment you get, like, I'm sorry for you, because that's going to be a very unfulfilling and painful life for you. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, that was really disturbing. On to some book updates. I have a couple. So I did finish reading Duke I'd Like to F. I read all 5 of the stories in it. My favorites were actually Eva Leigh's, which I'll tell you in a sec. So that one was, Eva Leigh's story was An Education in Pleasure, which is a governess and a young duke. So she was never directly his governess because she came on to be a governess for his younger sisters. And so he went away to school. He's always kind of been obsessed with her. It was really cute. So he's come back now because his father died. So he's 21 and he is the new duke. And she is about 30 and she's still the governess to his younger sisters. And the initial scene of it is that he's bathing in the lake and she catches a glimpse of him. And then he just straight up admits, he's like, this is kind of my biggest dream ever, that you would think I'm attractive and want to spend some time with me. So it was a teach me moment, but she was never like his teacher, but he is, you know, and now they're both aware that like he's the one in position of power now, and he wants to be really careful not to pressure her into anything. So it was adorable. That was my favorite. Tied for my Dirty Duke, which is Joanna Shoup's story. That one is a father's best friend, and it's a big age gap because he's 41 and she's 18, but it was really hot because I love dad's best friend stories. This book actually had 3 age gaps. It actually had 4, but the one of them, she was 30 and he was 40, so I don't consider it as much of an age gap. But The Chasing of Eleanor Vane was really great. My least favorite was probably Adriana Herrera's The Duke Makes Me Feel. It had the most interesting plot, but it also was a plot that I feel like didn't get explained really well, so I wish it had had a full book, right? So I will definitely be checking out more of Nicola Davis. I really liked hers in here. And I know that she had, Nicola Davidson, I know that she has some like Menage, and like that one has just some great stuff in here, so I really, really like this. Then the other thing I finished is I finished My Fake Rake, which this is for the Rake Appreciation Society book club. I'm going to save most of my feelings for book club, which, you know, speaking of not knowing what to say about an author sometimes, I am conflicted about this book. This is the 4th thing I've read by Eva Leigh. I read 2 books in the Wicked Quill series, and like I said, I really, really loved her novella. It was so fantastic. But this is not the problem with this for me. And I know a lot of people in book club are loving this book. So hopefully that will outweigh a little bit some of my feelings, because I'm not the happiest with it. Because it's just not my kind of hero or heroine, in all honesty. Sorry, they're doing some work on the shingles up top. This hero, he's a cinnamon roll, but to me the definition of a cinnamon roll is a hero who is very caring and conscious of the heroine's feelings and can be sensitive. But cinnamon roll doesn't mean a pushover or weak, or doesn't mean that they can't have alpha tendencies. And the thing with Sebastian is I kept waiting for him to like flip a switch and be like, I need you, you're mine, and I felt like that never happened. So I was left in the lurch. Like emotionally, I was left kind of just hanging out. I was missing the point that really just pushed it home for me. So there's a lot of things I did like. I liked the setup of it. I liked that the hero had kind of a transformation. I liked that he like wore glasses, and then when she saw him without his glass, like I liked that that was switched. I liked that he was a working man. He's a scholar. But these two just aren't my ideal couple. And I rate mostly on enjoyment, and I can't change that just because I'm going to talk with the author on about this book. And so I'm really struggling with, you know, what to bring up, because I don't think it's a bad book, but it's not for me. So that's what I'm going to have to lean into, is that I would have DNF'd this book if I wasn't reading it for book club. And so that kind of tells you that I generally don't finish books that I'm not going to like them unless there's a reason, because I don't like to give bad reviews for books if I can help it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think that it's necessary. But this one just didn't work for me. So I gotta be honest about it. And I ended up giving it 3 stars, which to me is just an okay book, but it's not one that I will probably like recommend or really excited. However, I'm still planning to get through, I want to read the sequel to this one, because I heard that one has a submissive duke who's submissive in sex, but like not everywhere else. And that's what I like. I like when it's a big, sexy, strong, forceful man, but he wants to submit in the bedroom. Like, that's what I want. And that's what I got in Duke I'd Like to F. And so I'm hoping that in Would I Lie to the Duke, that I get that out of it. So yeah, not as exciting as I want it to be. Maybe we'll film one more clip before we turn this one in. I don't know. A lot of books came out the other day that I want to read. I started Deadly Dreams last night because I had to read some of it before I went to bed. I was waiting for it all day. White Mask I started, which I'll probably finish that one. It's a bit shorter, but today's my busy day. I am having my lunch right now, and then we have some pretty big meetings today. I did actually start listening to a novella bind-up by Elle Kennedy, because I heard about this series she did that was a bunch of menages. I heard about it from the Fatemates podcast, so I'm listening to that because it's a shorter audiobook. But I need to dive into Deadly Dreams, and I need to finish 2 Sir Philip with Love. So those are going to be my 3 main goals. I'll listen to Hot and Bothered. I'll probably finish White Mask because I don't have too much left. And I need to finish 2 Sir Philip with Love because I am actually realizing I'm going to be behind by 1 week leading up to the show. So I want to kind of catch up to that. So maybe there'll be one more clip. Maybe this will be the end. Who knows? We shall see. But now...